Yes. If there's one thing we've learned from Kate Welshofer and her series, What Is That? We never know what's coming.
It's the most obvious answer may not be the most correct one. There is almost always more than meets the eye, and this week is no exception.
This week's What Is That brings us to Allegheny County, in a town with arguably the friendliest name in all of the state. It wasn't always that way, though. In its early days, Friendship had a pretty rowdy reputation, so much so it was originally and pretty hilariously known as Fighting Corners. Then some of the more genteel residents stepped in and suggested the area might be better served by a more affable about-face. So Fighting Corners became Friendship. Give or take a couple of centuries later, and here we are at the hardware store.
It's just a unique part of the town. It's always been here.
The building dates back to 1882, and the store itself is a bit of a throwback. It's also a staple. When the store was in danger of closing several years ago, Dee and Jeff Wolf stepped in to keep it going.
A really good meeting place.
It always was.
Yeah.
The previous owner had it for 40 years, and the old timers used to come in, and there was a potbelly stove in the middle of the store, and they would sit and have coffee and figure out the town's problems. So it's still kind of like that.
Yeah.
Emphasis on kind of. Now, it's actually way
But I always start mine wrapped in foil.
more
I cook with maple.
awesome.
There's something about apple and meat just goes together well.
You go and get a tool and get a sandwich while you're at it.
Turkey, chipotle mayonnaise, bacon.
My son and my husband would eat here every day if we let them. They love the barbecue here.
He's always cooked anyway, and a couple of times a year we'd have half the town over to the house, and somebody just said, why don't you just do it there? It was like a light bulb.
So they started making sandwiches in the hardware store, creating this incredible hybrid business, one of the only ones like it in the country.
We smoke all our meat here. All the sides are homemade.
I'll take one of everything.
Some of Wolfie and Dee's first fans were state troopers, so they have a special place in their hearts and on the menu.
Probably our biggest seller is the Castellani.
He told his friends and they came in and ordered it, and it just snowballed from there. I did a whole alligator for a bachelor party a couple years ago on the smoker. They sent it, yeah, it was so cool. They sent it UPS.
Bet you didn't see that coming. Wolfie says besides candy bars and Jell-O, you could smoke just about anything. As the business and the menu expand, he and Dee hope making a mean sandwich will help put Friendship on the map. There's just one thing they say they'll never do.
I can't see ever getting rid of the hardware completely,
Right.
because the town needs it.
That, and it's kind of unique. We don't want to take that away from it.
And thanks again to Dee and Wolfie for their hospitality. They're getting ready, by the way, to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow.
And Jeff's been making a sauce for 20 years, and it's so popular, they're now starting to bottle it and sell it as well. But I mean, it's worth the trip to Friendship, for sure.
And
Do you walk through the hardware store to get to the restaurant? Is it side by side?
It's right in the back. So I mean, literally people show up, they'll buy a paintbrush or they'll buy, you know, whatever they need and then stop by and get a sandwich as well. I tried the Cuban, that's Wolfie's favorite, which was great, but it was...
I can't imagine walking into a hardware store and saying, do I smell barbecue?
Yeah, and they're making everything themselves and it just keeps growing. So
Awesome.
Take a trip to Friendship.
All right, now we know what that is. Thanks very much.
Kate, thank you.